Alright, boys and girls, today's lesson is lesson 8-5, and we're going to compose and decompose angles. So what that means is we're going to figure out what the total angle would be of a couple angles put together, and then we're going to find ways to figure out what the missing angle is of a couple different angles put together. So first thing I want you to do is turn to page 289, and we're going to talk about adding angles. Pretty simple. If you know how to add, which I know you all do, you'll have no problem figuring these out. So it says two angles can be put together to form another angle. The measure of the whole angle is the sum of the measures of the smaller angles. So in this case, we have this angle, and then we have this angle. Notice they're both sharing the ray BD. So basically you're adding the two angles together, and you get 45, I don't like the green, 45 plus 45, so it equals 90 degrees. So it says what kind of angle is formed when the two angles are put together, and what is the measure? Well, we know the measure is 90 degrees, and a 90-degree angle is called a right angle. Okay, the next one here we're working with EFH and HFG. We have 30 plus 60, which equals 90 also, so once again we have another right angle. And the degrees, or the measurement, is 90 degrees. Okay, so the next two are actually really easy, but we have a 90-degree angle and a 90-degree angle, so 90 plus 90 equals 180, so this is called a straight angle. So a straight angle, which equals 180 degrees, and I want everyone to do the next one on your own, so pause it, work it out, and then unpause it and I'll show you the answer. Okay, so hopefully you looked at the first angle, angle NPR, and said it's 130 degrees. And then you looked at RPQ and said that's 50. You add them together, you get 180 degrees. And once again, that is also a straight angle. Okay, so on the bottom it says, an angle is made up of two angles with measures 80 degrees and 70 degrees. Write and solve an equation to find the measure of the whole angles. Okay, so this is a really easy equation to do, because basically you just take your 80 and you add it to your 70, plus 70 equals x, and then you do 80 plus 70 is 150, so you say 150 equals x, so x equals 150 degrees. Simple as that. That's how you write an equation. You put a variable in, your variable this time is x. So let's push this page out of here and turn to the next page. Okay, so the next page says use the angles shown to make other angles. Okay, so this gives you 5 different angles, and it's going to have you figure out, knowing how to add and subtract, what you need to do next. So number 6 says which two angles would you put together to make a 75-degree angle. So you have to figure out which two of these angles equal 75 degrees. Well, you know that's too much, and this is too much, so neither of those two would work. So then you have to add 35 to 40, or 35 to 50, or 50 to 40. You know 50 plus 40 is 90, 50 plus 35 is 85, so that leaves you with 35 plus 40, so that tells you that angle A, B, C plus angle D, E, F equals 75 degrees. Notice that you have to put the angles like that. You have to write them out in a little angle sign with the letters of the angle. Remember, the vertex is always where the middle number is. So in the first case here, we have ABC. The vertex is at B, B's in the middle. Number 7, which two angles would you put together to make 145-degree angle? Okay, now this is where I'm going to have you use your math skills, and I want you to find two angles that equal 145 degrees. So pause it, find it, unpause it. Okay, so hopefully you all got angle KLM plus angle GHJ equals 145 degrees, because 95 plus 50 equals 145 degrees. Next one. Which two angles would you put together to make a straight angle? Well, a straight angle, remember, is 180 degrees. So which two of these equal 180 degrees? Pause it, figure it out, unpause it. Okay, so hopefully you looked at it and said, well, I know that if I take angle we'll make it DEF plus angle QPN, we would get 180 degrees, because we have 140 plus 40 equals 180. Okay, next one. I want you to do number 9 on your own. Actually, I want you to do number 9 and number 10 on your own, and then we will talk about them. So pause it, figure them out, unpause it. Alright, number 9 says, which two angles would you put together to make a right angle? Okay, well, first you need to realize what a right angle is. A right angle is 90 degrees. Okay, so we know angle DEF, which is 40 degrees, plus angle JHG equals 90 degrees, because 50 plus 40 equals 90. Are there any other ways that work? No. Next one, if you put all 5 angles together, what would the measure be? The measure of the whole angle. So if I put all these together, and I did 35 plus 40 plus 50 plus 95 plus 140, I would equal 360 degrees, which everyone knows 360 degrees is a circle. Alright. Next it says, use a protractor and straight edge to draw the angles formed by putting ABC and KLM together. Show the measure. I'm just going to do it over here. ABC is 35 degrees. A, B, C. And it says KLM together. KLM would be just like this. If I add them two together, I'd have my the K here, L, M, which is 90 degrees. You add 90 to 35, you get 125 degrees. So that's what it would look like. Obviously, it would be a little bit neater. So there are some times where in this case, I would actually make my angle and rename it ABK, or I could do AL K. I could do one of the two, because I wouldn't rewrite these twice. So whatever you want to do would work. So let's shrink this down and go to the next page, where we kind of have to decompose now. And it says, write an equation to find the unknown angle measure. The measure of RST is 120. This whole thing is 120, what it's telling you, okay? So you need to figure out what the two angles inside of it are. So what is the measure of VST? Well, we know that the whole thing is 120. So we know 75 plus X equals 120. So then we know from earlier this year that you would just take 120 minus 75 to give you what? 25, 45. So we know X equals 45 degrees. So X is the angle of VST, which is 45 degrees. Okay? Number 13. The measure of let me make this a little bigger. The measure of MNP, which is the whole thing, is 130. So this whole thing should be 130 degrees. So we know that M and Q is 40, so what would Q and P be? Well, we know that 40 plus X equals 130, so we'll have to take 130 minus 40 would equal X, and then we know that X equals 90, so we know angle Q and P would equal 90 degrees. Okay, I want you to try to do 14 and 15 on your own and see if you can come up with the correct answer. So pause it, work them out, and pause it. Alright, so hopefully you all did the same type of equations I was doing in the last two problems and said, well, hey, I need to find the whole measure is 180. Meaning this, the whole angle is 180 degrees. We know part of the angle, the two angles you put together, one of them was 72 degrees. The other one, we don't know. So we know 72 plus x equals 180. So we take 180 minus 72 to equal x. So we know x equals, let's see, minus 72, we get 108. So we know this is 108 degrees. Because notice if you add these two together, you get 180. Okay, the next one. This is a little bit trickier, but really not. This right here tells you that the measure of xy m is 60. So the whole thing is 60. It tells you the measure of one of them at 10. So we know 10 plus x equals 60. So then we know 60 minus 10 equals x. We know x equals 50. So this would have to be 50 degrees. Okay. We're not going to have whole time to do number 16. Number 17 says when a right angle is made from two smaller angles, what must be true of the smaller angles? Well, that must be true. One of the things that must be true is that they are both acute angles. Because an acute angle is less than 90 degrees, so both of them have to be. And then it says when a straight angle is made from two smaller angles, what must be true of the smaller angles? Well, one thing that could be true is they both could be right angles, because two right angles would equal 180. Or it would have to be one acute plus one obtuse. So we'll work on this more in a small group, but today's lesson I think was pretty easy. Basically addition and subtraction with our good old triangle families. 120, 40, and here's 80, and you know this plus this equals there, this minus this equals there, this minus that equals that. So it's a family. So with this family, you should know with the angles, it really helps to know the family.